This is Big Podcast.
This is going to make some people mad, but it needs to be said. You probably already know it. The majority of what you're seeing via podcasts, YouTube, definitely on social media, it's bullshit. It is smoke and mirrors. It's hype. It's main character syndrome. There's so much out there that has been exaggerated and lies by omission, meaning that, yeah, maybe there's some gray area. It's kind of true, but they're not telling you the complete story. Authenticity, I don't know that we're really getting it. Anytime you're in a room where a camera's on, a microphone is recording, you are getting part of the story. Does that include this one? Yeah, man, yeah. I mean, there's no way for you to get the entire story. But what really gets me agitated, and this is arguably in line with one of those things where every accusation is a confession. When people talk about being transparent and authentic, I call it TNA. If you're being transparent and authentic, just do it. You don't need to tell everybody about it. I'm going to go into that a little bit more in this episode. It's Build a Big Podcast, the marketing podcast for podcasters. This is the podcast about growing your podcast, getting more people to your podcast, making a podcast that makes you money, making a podcast that makes impact. Bigpodcast.com, that's the website for more information. And if you want what I'm talking about on this issue, you're going to want to go to newsletter.bigpodcast.com. This is issue 226 of my weekly newsletter that's called Big Podcast Insider every Friday morning, New York City time. You will get it in your mailbox if you subscribe. You can do that at newsletter.bigpodcast.com. If you like what I'm talking about, you want more of it in writing, the written version, you want all the links, the photos, the videos, things that I can't do here on this podcast, go there, newsletter.bigpodcast.com. This is issue number 226. Here's what's on this episode. Authenticity, the death of local media. Who listens to your podcast? I know who knows. AI knows. AI to make Indians sound like Americans. This is where I get into real authenticity, or not in this case. The podcaster uniform. Did Michelle Obama's new podcast just erase an indie brand? We're going to go into it. You be the judge. This episode of Build a Big Podcast brought to you by Riverside.fm, a virtual studio that makes recording and editing at the highest quality possible accessible to anyone. But not just recording, not just editing. You want social media clips? Riverside can help you. They got something called Magic Clips. It's going to take your long-form content, that long interview you've just done, that long monologue you've just done, chop it up into snackable bite-sized content for social media, audio and video. You're going to get instant transcriptions powered by AI with 99% accuracy. And if you want to bring back some old school radio, live streaming with audience interaction, all of it at riverside.fm. Go there right now. Get a free account. They're going to give you a couple of hours. Kick the tires, look under the hood, see what you think about it. You're going to like it. Riverside.fm. Go there right now. Get your free account. Here's a discount code if you want to stick around on a paid plan. It's Big Podcast, BIGPODCAST. That's riverside.fm, the discount code. Big Podcast, BIGPODCAST. All right, let's get to it. Thing to thing to thing. You know it. All of them about podcasting, growing your podcast, making more impact, making more money with your podcast. When I go from one thing to the next, you're going to hear this sound. That's how you know. If you want to see the video, if you want to see what I'm talking about in writing, any videos, any images, any links, you can go to newsletter.bigpodcast.com. This is issue number 226. Are you ready? Let's do it. Authenticity. This is a word that gets thrown around a lot in the podcasting space, and most of the time, it's marketing jargon. You want to be authentic? Show the fuck up. You don't need to tell people you're being authentic. I mean, seriously. As I mentioned earlier, anytime a mic is on, a camera's rolling, is that authentic? No, man. No. Now, there are parts of authenticity, but there's a lot of stuff left out by omission. Let's talk about this show. I'm editing myself. If there's something that I don't like how it came across, it gets edited. If I need to say something again, the first one gets edited. You don't even know that it happened. It's a little bit of polish that makes the message stand out. The compression, the noise reduction, the EQ, the de-esser, the audio effects that help me to be heard by you just a little bit better when you're in a car, when you're in a gym, a loud subway. That's manipulating the message. Is it helpful? Yeah, I would argue that it is. Is it authentic? Maybe. I'm going to talk about an AI tool later on in this episode. It is being used to change Indian accents into American ones. Is that authentic? I would argue that it's not. Is it effective? Yeah, maybe. Some people, like those in America, they have not been exposed to different types of accents. So when you've got an Indian guy and he's got a thick Indian accent, you're like, oh, I can't understand him. Maybe it's helpful. Maybe it's effective to the company. But is it authentic? No. I want you to think about your podcast. If you really want to connect with listeners of your podcast, you're going to have better luck being yourself. Your voice, and that includes everything that comes with it. That's your accent, your phrasing, your opinions. That's an asset. You got an Indian accent, lean into it. A Southern accent, lean into it. Northern accent, lean into it. Canadian accent, lean into it. Whatever. Speak up, lean into your authentic self. Nobody wants to hear a copy of what somebody else is doing. Again, maybe this thing is working great in a customer service call. Somebody just needs the information. They don't have a lot of experience with accents. They can understand an accent that's flat or similar to their accent a little better than something that will be different, Indian or otherwise. Maybe it's effective. But for your podcast, no. No, I wouldn't do that. I know people that are accent reduction coaches. Is that helpful in living your life? Yeah, maybe. If I were to go to Mexico and I want to speak Spanish, it probably is helpful to me to reduce my American accent when speaking Spanish. Is that authentic? Look, we could argue about this all day, but nothing wrong with your accent. Nothing wrong with how you're showing up. There's somebody for you in the listening audience, and they're looking for you. They just don't know it. Say, oh man, I really connect with this guy. I really like this lady. Why is that? It's the language you use. It's the accent, the examples. Don't try to be somebody else. We don't need a copy of a copy of a copy of a podcast. This is not like the old days where you've got your radio station that goes only to a geographic area. And you're saying, okay, well, we can't get Howard Stern, but we can get Big Boy and Billy. They're kind of like Howard Stern. These days, you're going to go to the original, Howard Stern, satellite, internet, whatever. This is not like the old days, so don't play that old game. You want more thoughts on this? You want to reach out to me? You can do that, newsletter.bigpodcast.com. This is issue number 226. Hey, real quick, let's talk about Big Podcast AMP. AMP stands for Audio Monetization Program. And if you like the podcast, if you like the newsletter, you are going to like Big Podcast AMP. It's a personal coaching program. It is me working with you. I'm going to help you do three things. 1, grow your podcast audience. 2, get people talking about your podcast. And 3, make more money with your podcast and also your podcasting skills. If you want more information about it, bigpodcast.com/AMP. That's bigpodcast.com/AMP. The death of local media. Speaking of everything being available on the internet, that's what's killing local media. I've talked about the death of local newspapers before. I've got a full article linked at newsletter.bigpodcast.com. This is issue number 226. But this applies to all local media, television, radio, and newspapers. It's a great opportunity for podcasters. Let me tell you why. People are still hungry for local content. Take advantage of this. Per listener, the most successful podcast I have ever done, it was to a neighborhood with about, 1,500 houses. So let's say there are 5,000 people in the neighborhood. I had about 500 of them each week. So 10% of the neighborhood. That enabled me to go hyper local. If I wanted to talk about the new coffee shop, if I wanted the new coffee shop to sponsor me, they're going to pay more for those 500 people than they would on something like Howard Stern. Something that costs a lot more overall and doesn't reach nearly as many people as I could, and certainly isn't as connected as I am. Hyper-local is the opportunity in podcasting. I've been doing this for years. It works great if you got a local business like real estate, dentists, coffee shops, whatever. And per person, it is going to be the most successful podcast you have. If you really want to go crazy with it, listen to this. I looked up Nashville one time. We'll use that as an example. There are probably 40 or 50 neighborhoods that people would know. I mean, these are real neighborhoods, not just nooks. I've got a neighborhood that realtors are going to call it one thing when they want to sell it. The people here that have been here for a while, they're going to call it something else. So sometimes, my neighborhood could be one of 4 different names, depending on who you're talking to. But overall in my city, let's say 40, maybe 50 neighborhoods that people would know. It is very easy to do a short local podcast, hyper local, and do something like a coffee shop sponsor, or do something like connect with a real estate agent that wants to get the word out and wants to be the agent in that neighborhood. The death of local media or the birth of hyper local media? Something to think about. If you want the full article, newsletter.bigpodcast.com. This is issue number 226. And if you want help putting this thing together, either one show, or if you're in a situation like me, you've got 50 local neighborhoods, That's the opportunity. I can help you get that set up. Big Podcast AMP, bigpodcast.com/AMP. Go there. Let's make something happen for you. Who listens to your podcast? AI knows. I've got a clever way for you to use AI in market research. It is linked, newsletter.bigpodcast.com. This is episode 226. You can do something similar to get details on your listeners or your podcast. More or less, this is a list of questions and a list of things that you can put into AI that's going to get you to go deep on one, who is probably listening to your podcast based on the content that you're already putting out. Or two, how you can get the people that you want to listen to your podcast by changing up your content so it attracts them. Sound good? I've got a process. You can go through it. It is linked at newsletter.bigpodcast.com. This is issue number 226. Try it and let me know via Blue Sky how it works for you. It's going to get you thinking. If you are stuck on episode ideas, if you are stuck on a subtitle, if you're wondering why your podcast is stalled, this is going to shake things loose for you. Newsletter.bigpodcast.com, issue number 226. AI to make Indians sound like Americans. There's a tool you might have used for noise reduction. It's called CRISP, K-R-I-S-P. And CRISP is great if you're in a noisy coffee shop or you're somewhere on the street and you need to remove the background noise from that session. It's not something you would want to necessarily use if you're recording, but if you're doing a live stream, if you're doing calls, it is good. They have a new feature. They just launched this. It uses AI to change the user's accent during calls. Specifically, it turns an Indian accent into an American one. I've talked about Shrikant Joshi. It's a buddy of mine from Pune, India. Speaking of Howard Stern, he was kind of the Howard Stern of India. He was a shock jock. It's one of the things we've exported to the rest of the world. Shrikant's a cool guy, works in voiceover, podcast production, radio. And I went to him, I said, dude, you have got to try this. I want to know how it sounds and get a real Indian perspective on how it works. I also want to know how it specifically sounds on your voice. Maybe you can tweak it to sound more like my voice. Middle-aged white guy with a slight Southern accent. He said, I'm on it. I hope to have that audio for you soon. And I may have to bring in Shrikant. We'll have a discussion with him about this. There's something I find about this that's both dishonest and disturbing. And I mentioned this a minute ago. I understand that American callers probably understand their own accents better than non-American ones, especially the guys in what we call the flyover, the middle of nowhere with people that look and sound just like them. It's not like being in New York City where you hear all sorts of accents and learn how to understand those accents. You know, there are varieties of English. Even what we speak here, people in England, it's like, that's not English that we know. It's not an elevator, it's a lift. You know what I mean? Different words for things. Pants versus trousers. They can understand you, but it's just a little bit different. And there's nothing wrong with that. You call them trousers, I call them pants. Cool. Can we understand each other? Yeah. As a marketing person, do I want to speak in your language? Yeah, of course. Make it easy for people to understand you, make it easy for people to buy from you. There's something about this, though, that makes me angry. It plays into the stereotypes that flat American accents are more desirable than other accents. Are they? Sometimes. But there are times, like if you're a shock jock in Pune, India, which, by the way, India, they've got about 9 New York cities. That is how many people are there and how big these cities are. He's broadcasting to 5 million people each day. You don't want to sound like me. You want to sound like Shrikant. So in that case, my accent, which arguably has a little bit of southernness to it. It's not quite a flat accent, but it's not, hey, man, it gets a whole lot more southern than me, you know? Shrikant's accent's going to work better for that, assuming he's even going to do the thing in English. Could be in Hindi. There's not the same dominance of language like there is here. Your accent, that's what makes you stand out. Don't fall for the trap of thinking a flat American accent is the way to go. It is not. Same thing for a radio voice. Everybody has a radio voice. Have you ever had somebody say that to you? They say it to me all the time, especially when they actually hear me on a radio and things EQ'd up, compressed. Man, you got such a great radio voice. Do I? It sure didn't feel that way when I started. Maybe I've learned how to control it, whatever. But I certainly didn't have that turn it up and rip the knob off. I wasn't like that guy. I used to hear those dudes. I was like, who are these guys? Another Nashville double shot. All right, Nashville. That wasn't me. And radio voices changed. The station where I produce Music Business Radio, they're looking for regular people. I was up for a jock position recently. A new network has started here in town. And I said, yeah, I'll do that. Just like a weekend part-time thing. I'd love to get back into spinning music. Haven't done that for a long time. Been doing talk radio for a while. I've been buddies with the station manager for like 25 years. I said, hey, dude, I'm going to throw my reel in there. He said, hey, yeah, thanks, man. We went somebody else, but, appreciate you. We're just going for like a regular sounding person. That's the radio voice now. A good buddy of mine, he's got a voice like that, like Nashville's classic rock. He's missing out on gigs because he sounds too much like that radio guy. So don't be thinking the quote unquote radio voice is static like that, or that there's a certain type of radio voice. There's not. Everybody has a radio voice. To wrap this up, this is just the beginning of what we're going to see as far as voice manipulation. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. Reach out to me via Blue Sky if you want that link and more information about this AI tool to make Indians sound like Americans and how that works. Everything's at newsletter.bigpodcast.com. This is issue number 226. Podcaster uniform. Hey, this is a joke. It's visual. Go see it. Where? Yeah, newsletter.bigpodcast.com, issue 226. This is my question for you. Do you wear a uniform when you record your podcast? Let me tell you what I'm wearing right now. Inside the red room, a 5x8 tricked out closet, packed full of blankets, some big sound panels full of rock wool. I'm wearing a shirt. I'm looking like a middle-aged dude who just stepped out of a Prius. It's by a brand called Prana. And it just so happens I'm also wearing Prana pants, or as the English would say, trousers. It's gray. My studio is gray. It's a boring life, man. But you can sound like $1,000,000. You can sound like you're turning it up and ripping the knob off via audio podcasting. You don't have to look a certain way. You sound a certain way. So this is my advice to you. It doesn't matter what you wear as long as you look the part. For me, I'm looking the part. Middle-aged white guy podcaster. If I'm in a radio station, there are people there, it's on video, I'm going to dress for a different part. But yeah, audio only, especially a monologue thing, do what you do, man. Be comfortable. Whatever allows you to do your best work, regardless of what it looks like. What do you wear when you're recording? Let me know via Blue Sky, newsletter.bigpodcast.com, issue number 226. I've also got a joke. You're going to want to see this. It's about a podcaster who got a $250 million contract on Spotify, and you can see it at newsletter.bigpodcast.com, issue number 226. Did Michelle Obama's new podcast just erase an indie brand? This isn't a slide on Michelle Obama, by the way. This is a discussion about a bigger brand coming in and using the same name as an independent. And we see this all the time with celebrities, big companies. The official name of this podcast, Build a Big Podcast. Sometimes people refer to it as Big Podcast, and that's the domain, bigpodcast.com. Why is it Build a Big Podcast? One, that lets you know what you get. But also, Shaq, the basketball player, movie star, this dude, back in the 90s, had a rap record. Nobody talks about that anymore. But he's got a podcast. It's called The Big Podcast with Shaq. That's the official name. I wasn't going to go up against it. I wanted you to be able to easily find me. Regardless, though, sometimes a celebrity comes in, they use your name or you use their name or whatever. The celebrity almost always wins. And here's the deal. If you're an independent, you've got a topic, you've got a phrase that you're using, big business is looking for this. Big business is always looking for what's hot on the street. That's music, dance, fashion, podcasting. If you're doing something, you know about it before big business. You've got a fast ship. It's not even a ship. It's a speedboat. They got a battleship. And when that battleship gets turned around, ooh, you're not going to compete. But you can be faster, and you can compete quickly, and you can get in and make that audience and really build a brand for yourself. It's just going to be a little bit messy if somebody does come in. If you've got a few minutes, and by that I mean maybe 52 minutes, it's under an hour. There's a television show called Merchants of Cool. And this is how business works. This is the stuff that I used to do when I was doing street promotion for music. We would have a new band and we would seek out cool people. And I was one of them back in the day. So I would seek out other cool people. And I would say, hey, man, do you know about this band? 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 We're passing out CDs, cassettes. What have we had? Flyers, T-shirts. We were trying to build hype about a band. Merchant School breaks that down. They talk about Sprite specifically. Remember Sprite? Lemon and lime. It's a soda. The most uncool drink in the world. Until it wasn't. Then it all of a sudden becomes a hip-hop brand. Obey your thirst. Okay, cool. How'd they do that? Street promotion. They look for what's hot and they add on to it with money and resources. And if you happen to be doing something that's the same name, well, too bad. How can you protect yourself? You could have a trademark, a copyright, that can help. It's nice to have the .com domain of whatever your brand is. Like I mentioned, bigpodcast.com. That's helpful for me. And .net and .org. But in the end, it really comes down to whoever does the best job of getting the word out. The stronger awareness of your brand is, the less likely somebody's going to come in and try to take it. Also, the reason the company is called Big Podcast, that's because that's what you want. You don't want massive podcast. You don't want kind of large podcast. You want a big podcast. It's easy to spell. It's the phrasing that people use. He's using it in a different way, whatever. Just he can go on and do it. To take it back to Michelle Obama, and this whole story is linked. It's at newsletter.bigpodcast.com, issue number 226. Michelle Obama comes in with a podcast that uses the same name of not just one guy doing it, but about 10 other people. Is it confusing? Yeah, maybe. If one of those 10 people is trying to get people to their podcast and all they're finding is Michelle Obama. You know, the Obamas, they've had podcasts before. Is this one even going to be around in a few years? Who knows? I think most stuff works itself out. We don't need to worry about every little thing. We don't, man. I mean, trademark stuff, I've had a few trademarks over the years. I think 3. It gets weird. There's international trademarks, there's national trademarks, there's category-specific trademarks. And if you've ever applied for one, this is usually how it works. You will apply for something, and that looks like, I want to trademark Big Podcast for podcasting-related services, seminars, maybe podcasting-related merchandising. And they're going to come back to you unless your form is filled out perfectly. And they're going to say, okay, look, you can't trademark the word big because that's a generic term. Podcast, that's a generic term. So that term, Big Podcast, you can't segment it out. The combination of big and podcast, you could trademark that, but it can only be for this category. Meaning, if Shaquille O'Neal wants to come in, and he's already established with his trademark, Big Podcast, a podcast called Big Podcast, he's got that. You can't have your podcast called Big Podcast. It could be Build a Big Podcast because that's descriptive, but it can't be Big Podcast. By the way, another reason I didn't call this podcast Big Podcast, originally this podcast was called Big Podcast Daily. It's just too general. And that's why the trademark is going to give you some pushback. When something's too general, they're not going to let you do it. It's got to be specific. It's got to be for a certain category. You've got to show that you're using it. I'm not an attorney, by the way, so this is not legal advice. If you're interested in getting a trademark, talk with an attorney, get a professional, or just do it. See if they give it to you. Not legal advice. But I've never had issues getting my own trademark without an attorney. Somebody from the USPTO, United States Patent and Trademark Office, one of their attorneys is going to come back to you and you'll work that out. Again, I'm not an attorney. This is not legal advice. If you want to find out more about how Michelle Obama jumped into podcasting, the name she's using, it's very similar or even the same as 10 other podcasts. And if she did, in fact, erase an indie brand, I've got it linked, newsletter.bigpodcast.com. This is issue number 226. Hey, I'd love to work with you personally. I've talked about Big Podcast AMP, the audio monetization program. Find more information at bigpodcast.com/AMP. That's bigpodcast.com/AMP. Also, if you want more from me as far as this podcast, you can subscribe for free. You will never miss an episode. When you subscribe, you'll get every single episode that I put out for free directly from the Big Podcast supercomputer in the cloud, straight to your mobile device or wherever you listen to podcasts. You can subscribe one of 3 ways: iPhone, Android, or an RSS feed by going to bigpodcast.com. Do it right now before you forget. Bigpodcast.com. Never miss an episode, and I'll see you on the next one of Build a Big Podcast.